About a week ago, I read a somewhat hopeful essay in Substack about the role of the literary arts in addressing global authoritarianism and fascism. It was called Saying What Must Not Be Said, Viet Nguyen on Palestine, Liberation, and Justice. A refugee from Vietnam, Nguyen won the 2016 Pulitzer Prize for his novel The Sympathizer. Unlike other refugee children like Marco Rubio, Nguyen is a critic of the West. Saying What Must Not Be Said argues that writing can be profitable in challenging the narrative dominance of authoritarianism without getting preachy. Says Nguyen, quote, "While writing is mostly done individually and should not be legislated, the task of committed writers is also to imagine how their solitary work exists in relation to collective movements for liberation and justice." End quote. The West claims a high moral ground when it permits critiques like that of Nguyen's, but with that claim, it also claims an international monopoly on violence, bombing Iran, for example. Besides this hook to hang an imperialist hat on are other enablements: caste prejudice, the inertia of consensus, and the prejudice that great writing is not political, but is universal. To this prejudice, Nguyen offers the counterexamples of Edward Said and Toni Morrison, who were great because they were political. Today, unfortunately, many writers who opposed the Vietnam War have been silent or neutral regarding the genocide in Gaza, reports Nguyen. Or they take the two-sided approach, as if Palestine is equal to the combined weight of the U.S. and Israel. Reinforcing this muted reaction is the high likelihood of reprisal, doxing, deportation, or the indefinite postponement of awards, such as Adania Schieble's German Literaturpreis for her novel The Minor Detail. Palestinian writers and journalists have been exterminated in the hundreds, Nguyen reminds us, for denying that Palestinians are human animals. Nguyen is not arbitrary about how writers should engage genocide. Quote, "There are many reasons why writers should want to disagree when they detect injustice, which means that there is a wide spectrum of political commitments, some of which may be less passionate or critical than I might care for, but all of which are necessary now for a united front against authoritarianism and fascism." End quote. Indeed, Nguyen insists that the most important, or at least the most common denominator of an artist's work, is the dedication to beauty, as in John Keats' dictum from Endymion, "Beauty is truth, truth beauty." By truth, however, the artist is not so dedicated to what Nguyen calls debatable truth, but those emotional and spiritual truths that are difficult to confront or reveal, i.e., what must not be said. Nguyen reminds us that authoritarianism and fascism can make commitment seem hopeless, but saying what must not be said empowers other writers to do the same, particularly when done in a new way, a way that is, in Nguyen's words, electrifying and communitarian. Rather than prescribe orthodoxy or platforms, the writer speaks with an inner, authentic voice. I said that Viet Nguyen's essay was hopeful, yet I am perplexed. He validates the role of art in this struggle as well as the artist's instincts and the need for a united front. However, some allies are muted regarding Palestine, a vestige of pre-Trump consensus that is now enabling Trump's debasement of democracy. For Israel, the old consensus eviscerates higher education, demands the exile of dissident immigrants, students, and even legislators, wages war against progressive candidates, and gives safe passage and even carte blanche to someone like Bibi Netanyahu, wanted by the International Criminal Court for crimes against humanity. Let me share with you a poem from Jacobo the Turco. My hero, Jacobo, an Ecuadorian of indigenous Lebanese descent, finds himself interrogated in Guantanamo prison. The poem is called Lie If Innocent. I lied, and for a treat I was unstrung and seated in a splintered chair. More lies got me an indoor cell, for non-compliant brothers. with blanket, soap, and, under my mattress, a stenciled arrow. Mecca. Pues, it's somewhere. Billy, my interrogator, now sees me daily, sometimes twice, in luxury, metal chair, formica table, VCR and TV. 12-inch, always off. Once I concede I'm born in Lebanon, who cares if my Arabic is scant, French scanter, a quien le importa? I insist the hash was only for the money. I don't smoke it, don't care for politics, and I'm Maronite. Almost. Not Muslim. I did not care if the Hesti was Hezbollah. Everyone was. That got them so pissed, yelling at me about martyred Marines. I had to think up 5 more lies to get them off my case. Alhamdulillah. They had Hamoudi's name wrong. It's short for Ahmed, not Muhammad, who's in trouble if he ever gets to Norway. Not Hamoudi. May there he find himself a wife. Alhamdulillah. Inshallah. Great news! I will be tried, and Billy shows me Black Hawk Down. I used to love movies like this, but 19 U.S. martyrs looked like Gitmo guards. The 1,000 dead Somali looked like us. Thank you, folks. This is Phillip Bannowsky with another daybook. Have a good evening. Bye now.